Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. This is the community webinar, Setting Yourself Up for Success in 2025. And while we wait for everyone to come on, we kind of were doing it to begin with in the start, but would love for everyone to use the chat function and just share where in the world you're joining us from. So we've had lots of people participating already, and we've had Brazil, we've had Iceland, we've had Portugal. Myself and Debs are in London, and then Jordan is just outside London. And we are excited to have you here. Let's see if we can see any of the answers coming in. Yeah, we've got Iceland, Sweden, Slovenia. Awesome to see. Thanks everyone for joining. Great to see so many people from around the world are here. It's always so interesting to see if there's people in the same kind of countries joining. We've got some from Denmark. Welcome, Istanbul. Awesome. I was just in Bodrum. I love Turkey. Ireland's joining, Barcelona. Oh, lovely. Bhutan. Awesome. If you're just joining, just using the chat feature to share where we're watching from. We've got Poland, Portugal, Richmond, USA. We've got Claire from Wales, Italy. Awesome. It's a very international crew, so it's great to see so many people joining from our community. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with us. Just for some background, this is the first of a series of webinars that we'll be doing for our community to highlight tips and best practices for our community and resources that you might need. So I'm Vanessa. I am the customer and community marketer here at Bókun, newish to the team, and part of what I'm really looking after is community initiatives. So things like these community webinars and community newsletters that you may have received, and just educational resources to help you along your Bókun journey, whether you've been with us for a while or if you're new. So if there is a specific type of resource request or content you would like to see, feel free to put your suggestions in the chat, and something that I'll look at afterwards just out of interest. It's really helpful for me to kind of know what resources you're after. And I'm joined by two lovely co-presenters who are going to take you through our top tips for getting you into the new year. So I've got Debs, who is the product sales executive, and Jordan, who's our business development manager for channel manager. And they can share a little bit more about what they do just before they get into their segment. But as you can see, we do have a chat feature, so feel free to pop any questions that you have in the chat. We have Sukana from our support team in the chat as well to answer any questions that you have. And if there's time at the end, we'll also be able to answer some as well. So feel free to, if you have any questions throughout, to use the chat feature, and we'll get to it before the end of the webinar. Yeah, so that's what we have as our co-presenters. And just to give you a glimpse of what we're doing on our agenda today, it's all about getting into the new year, which is right around the corner, it's crazy to think that the new year is next month, but we're focusing on how to dive in and get you set up. So all things about availability, showcasing our resource management tool, and how to widen your distribution with our marketplace. So I am going to hand over now to Debs, who is going to share more about setting yourself up for these bookings in the new year. So just bear with me while I pass over controls to her.
Thank you. Let me take control. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So, hi guys, I'm Deborah. I'm from Italy, as you can feel, but I'm working here in Bókun. I was working in the technical support, and then I recently joined the sales team, and I'm here today to give you a bit of more knowledge on our new tool, the resource management. But in the first part of my presentation, I would like to give you some tips and recommendations for setting your products on the best way as possible for 2025. I will go through my demo account, my extranet, and in my test account, in which will be really a demo, and then I will go through all the top recommendations that I can give you. So the first thing that I would recommend to you all is to be ready for the new season with your calendar open. To do so, you just need to go in the experience overview. You will type and you will find out your experience for just purposes, training purposes. Today I choose my 9/11 tour in New York, and for update your availability, you can go in availability calendar, and here you can set up. In this case, I have already opened the availability for this year, but I would recommend to open for next season, summer, winter, and allow the traveler to start booking with you. The second top recommendation that I would also share with you, in my opinion, is updating the price for New Year. This is really important because probably next year we want to increase a bit the price, and here it's a good time, especially to do so. For update the pricing, you can go inside of your experience. Click on pricing. Here I have two different rates in my experience. I have a price per person, as you can see, the base price is 200. In Bókun, we have two different tools, two different features to modulate, to edit, to vary the price. Once is the price schedule, and it's a more static way to vary your price. And the second one is a more dynamic way, a more dynamic pricing, and is with the price modulator. Let's start with the price schedule. So let's see that the price schedule are used to set a specific price for product based on specific fixed time periods, the seasonal pricing, and they replace totally. They are going to replace the base pricing entirely for the defined date range that you choose. For example, if during the weekend you would like to raise the price, or for example during the weekend we want indeed rise the price, or you have or you want to do it during summer, or you want to decrease in winter, you have to create a price schedule rules. To do so, you can, let me just move the dashboard. Sorry. You can, I have already created, but to create a new price schedule, you can go in the price schedule section. You can go here and you can add it, and you can give a title, decide the months and weekends. Let's see, I want to create I want to increase during the weekend my pricing. I created the rule. I give a title, I select every month, because, for example, I want to do it every month. And for me, my weekends is Saturday and Sunday. And then I will save the rule. The same I did it for summer and winter. Now, if we come back in the price schedule, you can see that here on the just on the top of my pricing, there will be a drop-down menu, and you can define indeed your price for weekend. So as if you just remember, a couple of minutes ago, I decided that my base price is 200. But for example, during the weekend, I want to raise to 300. So I just go here, I select the weekend rate increase, and then I can define a new price. During summer, for example, I want to bring it even higher for 400, so I can define 400. And in winter, for example, as I'm not sure that I'm going to fill it up all my seats available, I will drop it down to 100. Just to give you a bit of context, I can give you an overview of our widget and how it would appear. Can you see it's enough big for everyone? Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Vanessa. So here, as soon as we go in widget preview, we can see our the dates on our calendar. Let's go, for example, in February. In February is our base price. Do you remember we create the base price is 200, but during the weekend we decided to raise it 300. And even more, we said that during the summer we wanted to add a price even higher, and here he's in during summer 400. In winter, we just decrease in winter. Sorry, let's go in December. It's 100. So this one is the first way that you can define and vary with the price schedule. We have another way, and we are the dynamic, our dynamic price modulator. We have two different types of price modulator, the discount price modulator and the booking notice price modulator. So for example, the 25th of December, I want to, the price modulator, just to give you an overview, in this case, you can increase or decrease the price by a percentage or an amount. Depends, for example, on a date range or in a particular day. Let's say that only the 25th of December, I want to increase the price because it's the day of Christmas. So I can create a price modulator in which I increase just in that particular day. So I select the title, I add even if it's a discount, for being a discount, you have to add a minus here, but in this case, I want to raise my price of 200. I select exactly on that day, and then also I need to select the experience that I want that this is going to happen. I save, and here to just give you a visual understanding, we can go in the widget preview, and here the 25th of December of 2024, we can see that definitely the price is increase of 2,000. The other price price modulator that it's worthy to remember is the booking notice price modulator. So for example, you would like to offer a discount the last 7 days before the start time because you want to fill it up the last seats that you have left. Here we have the price, the booking notice price modulator. You can create it. You give a range, for example, this one between the start time 0 to 7, and you can add a discount. You can promote also as applied discount, and in this case, for give you a more visual effect, we have applied to this. You can see that the price has been decreased of 10% based on our 100 of a base price. And you can see that the last 7 days before then the start time is it changed on green. So this, it's a lot of, I know that it's a lot of information regarding the pricing, but I think that it's really worthy to mention and be ready for the next season. Another point that I really would like that you take in consideration is to update your product with new photos. I'm sure that 2024 has been really a great season and year for everyone here, and you have new photos with your clients, so you can go into the experience photos and you can edit the photos that you have collected with your in 2024. Something else also that it's worthy mention is to link your experience with the TripAdvisor reviews, and in this case will also be present in your widget. In this case, I didn't edit any, and so I cannot show you, but otherwise it would have been here. On the next tips that I can also give you is it's a good time of the year also to add a new start time. So in order to add a new start time, you can still go into the experience, into availability start time, and here just my experience have this one at 8 in the morning, but you can add easily a different start times, and for example, after that you have done it, open also here the availability into the calendar. Something that I would also recommend is to include it in your experience are the extra or that you can sell it during the checkout. So let's say that we have this 9/11 walking tour in New York, and you are selling also a guidebook, in this case, or a jumper in New York. You can add it in the extras. And if we go in our widget preview for give you a more visualize, you can go through the checkout, and here the traveler can book also, and you can upsell guides, book, and jumper. This is something new. No, in reality, it's not something new. We always had extra, but since a couple of months, we were able also to add a picture on the extra, so in order to make it the product also more attractive for your clients. As we are here in terms of upselling, we have recently added to our tools offers or bundles. So now you can create offers and give the possibility to the client to book another experience during the checkout and get a discount. So, for example, I am a client, and then I land in your website. I want to book the 9/11 tour, but you have also the ghost tour. Let's call it ghost tour that you are going to offer during the night or when you want. And this experience you are not selling so fast, so you can add the offer. So as soon as the client is select the date, the rates, here it's appear bundle and save, and you can book the ghost tour with a discount of 20%. This experience can be booked based on the availability of this experience. To give you a bit of context, I don't know if you are new on Bókun or you are clients of since a long time, but in my one-to-one meetings that I usually do, I always recommend to my customer to have a look at the search bar here on the left-hand corner. It's gonna be your best friend. You can type any keyword and you're gonna be able to find absolutely the setting that you are looking for without remember by heart all the feature. So in this case, it's called offers. And I've already created them. In this case, sorry, I'm keep moving the dashboard. Here he is. I give a title. I decided which are the two experiences. You can choose multiple. In this case, I just choose a two. So as soon as the client is landing in 9/11 tour, it's going to have also the possibility of book a ghost tour, but also vice versa. So if they go and they see the ghost tour, also they can book the other one. I can offer, I can also not offer a discount, but obviously it's nice. I offer 20% discount, and you can also apply a discount on the extra. If we remember the guide book or the jumper, or we can and also you can apply discount to pick up and drop off. Once you have done it, here the client will have in the widget also the option to book another experience. This one is a really nice feature that have been added to Bókun in the last 3 or 4 months, and then I think that it's really cool because the customer is booking another experience before then the checkout. We have also the upsell. If you go, so in the upsell basically is gonna show to the customer other experience after the checkout, but this one is another setup in the booking channel. But this one is this is a quite nice feature because the customer before then completing the checkout has the option to book also this second tour. And let me see if something I can recommend you. Yes, something that maybe you haven't considered, but you can have your widget in different language, as many as you want. For example, I have in English, I have in Deutsch, in Danish, and in Bulgarian, in Arabic. And here you can translate your widget in the language that, that you prefer. And to do so, you can go into the experience. The last is advanced transaction. You click it here and you are going to be redirected to the page where the settings of where the translation happen. You can add the language that you wish. For example, let's add it Italian that I don't have. As soon as you add it, here appear a new tab in which you will have the machine translate that is going to translate all the text that you have previously. For example, I have created my experience in English, so I want to translate also in Italian. Here, the machine translate is translating in Italian. You can also amend it if you want, and you save. As soon as you did so, it's gonna appear. Let me save, and let me go again in our experience. And in the widget preview, there will be also Italian. This is quite nice. You can see that every tab it's translated in the language that you want. And this one, it's quite nice if you have a multiple customer coming for multiple location and you want to offer the widget in different language. And as we are talking about widget, an important feature that I would like to mentioning that you don't know, it's Google Things to Do. So Google Things to Do is we have a special collaboration with Google that if you are using the Bókun widgets, so product page or the Bókun website, you have the possibility that there will be the possibility that your widget, so your experience and your website himself will be also visible in Google Maps or in the Google search. So Google Things to Do has been created and designed for Google Maps. If you take, for example, your phone and you open your Google Maps right now, you will see you can type, for example, Tour Eiffel Paris, and you will see that there will be a tab that it's gonna say tickets. Here there will be obviously the tickets from the main hotels, but if you scroll down, maybe you will be so lucky that you're gonna find also the website of or one of the suppliers that they offer a tour in the tickets and tours in Paris, in particular in the Tour Eiffel. So this one is another way to sell your experience. And it's through Google. Just remember that your experience to be visible in Google Things to Do needs to meet the criteria that Google said. We have help articles that will explain thoroughly which are based on inclusion. For example, they need to have a inclusion, exclusion. They need to have a point of interest as a location. So if you fill it up your experience with the criteria that Google Things to Do require, you have a high possibility that your experience will be also present in Google Things to Do. So let me see if I forget anything. Yeah, something that also maybe you haven't thought about it, but in my opinion, it's something that it's important. I'm sure that your clients, maybe if you have been if they have had a really nice experience with you, they will come back. We know how customers are. So it's nice also sending maybe an email if they have if they are happy to receive offer news from you, to send, for example, at this time of the year, some emails with a kind of offer or a way to ask him to propose him a promo code or for them to rebook your experience next year. So those two, the customer can agree that next year or anytime you're going to send email newsletter. And during the checkout, indeed, let you show you in the widget, the customer can switch it on. This toggle. Let me select a day and give you. Here they can. Apologize that it's in English, in Italian. So here is now it's not in English. So here they can switch it on. Email me with new offers, with news and offers. In this case, if they become in the end they switch it on that, you are allowed to send them emails and news. To find out this customer, you can go in operation customers. You can filtering based on the customer that accept marketing email. In this case, I have two customers, me and Vanessa. Also nice. You can select both and you can action it and send an email. In this case, I have created already a nice email. So I'm sending to them a promo code for next season. For example, I'm a supplier in US. I'm not selling only experience in New York, but all around US. So if they want, for example, to visit Vegas next year, I have a really nice experience, and then I give them a promo code. So have a highly chance that they will come back also next year. I think that from this part, I gave you kind of good tips and recommendation. So I think that at this point we can move to the next big topic, that is the new resource management. So back in July this year, we have released this amazing feature that it's giving you the possibility to manage your resources and allocate your resources to your experience. In this case, when I use the term resources, we can think like vehicles, people, bikes, wherever that in your business is resources. Also, this one is gonna be a real demo regarding the resource management. You can find it in experience and under resource management. Here we will find 3 tabs. We will have the resource type, resources, and closeout. I personally think that the best approach in this way is starting from resources. So resources is let's start with an example. So in Italy, we have a lot of, in Italy, why clients, they go why travelers travel to Italy, because we have a good food, obviously, also a lot of other experience, but we have good food. So we have a lot of cooking class in Italy. We have a lot of cooking class, and we have obviously they need a chef. So in this case, I have a chef that they run the classes. So in this case, the resources, I have 2 chefs. You can name it them. So I have my chef Alphonse and my chef Daniel. So in order to create, first of all, the resources, you have to add it. You can go in here and create the resources. You need to give a name. You have to give also the capacity. Let me just open my chef Alphonse again, because it's gonna be easier. So I gave a name. The capacity basically is how many people my resources is able to. The classes basically are running up to 15 participants, and you can connect that particular resources to a user. So that means that the resources, they will able to download it, our mobile app, and see the bookings that they have been assigned and they can have the list of the bookings that they have assigned to themselves. In this case, I will give you a bit more examples. So in this case, if I have a cooking class, I will have the chefs. And in this case, both my chef Alphonse and Daniel needs to be grouped in a resource type. The resource type in this case is a category. So the chef, my chef, are gonna be under the category, under the type of chef. So we can see that here my chef has a totally of resources 2, and the both capacity of them is 15. For give you more example, if you run group tours around the cities and the tours are in buses, your resources are going to be bus, for example, bus 1, bus 2, and they are under the resources buses. If I have a guided that they speak multiple language, in this case I have Claudia that speaks English and German, and then I have Daniel that speaks only English, and then I have Matthias that speaks only German. I need to create the resources based on, the resources type based on the language that they speak. So I will have a guided that they speak English, and in this case I will have all the Maria, Claudia, and Daniel that they speak English, but we can see that Maria and Claudia, they speak also German. So in the price categories of German, also Maria and Claudia will be included because in this case they speak double language. In the example of today, I want to present the photographers. In my example, I have 2 photographers, myself and Pablo, and we are under the resource type of photographers. We have also the tabs of closeouts here. Basically, if we have your resources, you have the photographer. The photographer, you are going to give the day off to them. For example, Saturday, Sunday, they don't work. So you're going to close in the closeout section, you're going to close the availability of the photographer. And you're going to do here, close out, you can select the day and you switch it on off. Once that you have set it up, your resources, the next step is to assign the resources to the experience. To do so, in my example today, I have tried 3 private photo shooting in Zurich. In this case, I have all of the same start time just to make you understand how the resource management is working. So first of all, to assign the resource to the resource type to the experience, you need to go into the experience. You are going to click on availability, resource management, and here you're going to switch it on the photographer categories. Once you have done so, you need also to decide which is the allocation rule that you assign to this experience. So in my example, I have only private photo shooting. So that means that as soon as I receive a booking, no matter if it's 1 to 15, in this case, all the 15 seats are going to be taken because this is a private event. So in this case, you're going to add private. We have a different allocation rule, can be manual if you want to add the booking, if you want to assign manually the resources to the, if you want to assign the resources manually to the booking, or we have also an automatism. We have 3 types, orderly, round robin, and sticky. So in my example that I have a private photo shooting, I have the availability on my calendar is 15 seats. And okay, in my case, I have 2 photographers. My start times are all the same at 8, 9, and 10 for all the experience. The first experience, the second experience, 8, 9, and 10, and also the last one. And all the length is gonna be, let's see, that is going for 1 hour and 30. So let's see that I'm getting a booking for the private photo shooting at 8. In this case, it's the availability is gonna be still open for the other two. But remember, for the other two, because I still have another photographer. But as soon as, for example, I receive at the same time another booking for the private, still at 8, in this case, it's going to close automatically also the private one, because in the end, I don't have any other resources. The last allocation rule that maybe it's worthy let you know, because it's my opinion, it's really important, it's sticky. So in this case, for example, you have 3 experience, but I have only 1 photographer. Let's see, for not 2, like in my example. So if I use the sticky allocation rule, that means that as soon as I got, for example, a booking at 8 p.m. and automatically it's going to close the availability at 8 p.m. either for the private experience 1 and also for the private experience 3, but I will keep taking booking until the availability of the availability of and capacity of my resources is filled up. I think that I give you a good overview of the resource management. I know that it's a big topic, but the most important topics and feature regarding the resource management I have completed. Do you want to add anything, Vanessa, or I should just hand it over to Jordan?
Yeah, I think you covered everything there. So if you want to pass over to Jordan. Thank you, Debs.
Okay, give me a second that I move it to Jordan.
That was great. Can everyone see my screen, the one with the big jumping whale?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, well, perfect. That was amazing, Debs. Really helpful to kind of see it live and demo some of our really important features. So for anyone that kind of doesn't know, thanks for the introduction at the start, Vanessa. So I'm Jordan. I'm Business Development Manager for Channel Manager. And what that basically means is my role is very much focused on helping customers get the most out of our marketplace and really manage their channels. And there's 2 ways that customers can do that and 2 different types of customers that we work with. So we work with customers that use Bókun as their full reservation system. So obviously channel management is a huge part of that and getting them connected to different resellers. But we also work with customers that perhaps don't need Bókun as a full reservation system, but instead have their own existing system and would like to integrate that system to us and just use us as a channel manager only. So we work with every type of customer in every type of way. And distribution, connectivity, channel management is equally as important for all of those. But I'm here to talk to you today a little bit around connectivity and distribution options with Bókun and why it's really important to formulate a distribution strategy, have multiple sales channels and effectively manage those channels. So to help set the scene of why distribution is so important, I wanted to share a statistic from Arrival's Outlook for Travel Experiences report. Now, Arrival, if you're not already familiar, they are one of the biggest membership bodies for the tours and activities industry. And they quoted that by 2025, the channel growth of OTAs will be up by 150% since 2019, whereas those traditional offline booking methods, have pretty much declined and are expected to decline by 7%. And that's really because travelers across all generations are booking less and less in person. So sending emails, kind of picking up the phone to book experiences are kind of falling by the wayside, and instead those travellers are looking to kind of use more modern, easier and secure methods to book their experiences. So having a distribution strategy is something to consider. OTA marketing spends can kind of drive huge traffic and put your experiences in front of travelers that might never visit your website because it's just too costly to achieve through those individual marketing efforts. So OTAs are kind of that biggest provider of travel experience bookings worldwide. So connecting with those partners like Viator, Get Your Guide, Musement, Klook, Head Out, they're instantly going to give you that global reach. As well as considering those large global players, it's also worth thinking about which OTAs align with your type of experience and your location and your values. So there's many niche resellers out there that actually, although smaller, can drive really good volumes for the right experiences as they can tap into those certain types of travelers. To give you some examples, like the Tour Guy in Italy, a fantastic reseller that appealed to the Italian traveler, to Experiencia for the Spanish traveler, Virgin Experience Days for people that would like to have or to give an experience as a gift, Check Yeti for adventure activities, and the list just goes on. And we have over 6,000 different types of resellers in our marketplace for you to choose from. As I kind of touched on, sourcing customers from those international markets is a major opportunity, but it can be a challenge. So all the OTAs that we work with, ones across Europe, America, Asia Pacific, and elsewhere, are really important to try and work with. And Bókun helps you get access to those and helps you get access to those important source markets around the world much more easily and much more efficiently. And then, of course, by having your experiences on those on different reseller platforms, you can really start to build a strong online presence, growing your reputation on review sites, in reviews on the OTA platforms themselves, grow your OTA rankings to attract and drive even more travelers to your experiences. All of these things can start to grow then over time. And with Bókun kind of giving you that access to that massive amount of resellers, all from our marketplace, you can just keep growing and growing your channels. So, we have many, many operators on Bókun that have kind of 30, 40, 50 different reseller partners. And I've seen and do work with many kind of operators that have 100 plus more, which might sound daunting and overwhelming, but the beauty is all of your availability is synced across all of these channels. So you're not going to become overbooked. You're kind of managing your availability in real time. So it does streamline things and make it much easier. And then a really nice statistic I just wanted to share with you before we delve into what the marketplace looks like is it's a Bókun stat, and I think it just really reinforces how important it is to have multiple sales channels. So we noticed that operators who joined Bókun and started selling through our marketplace in 2023 saw an average GBV increase of 43%. So that's huge growth. And that is because the more channels you have and that you're selling to, the more opportunity you have for growth and revenue stability through that channel diversification. So I think I've talked enough about why it's important to distribute and manage your channels. So I'm now just going to dive into the marketplace, and hopefully you'll be able to see my screen. Is that, Vanessa, if you can just confirm if that's kind of shared now to the marketplace?
Yeah, we're seeing the marketplace.
Perfect. Okay. So I've chatted a bit about why it's important to be visible on reseller platforms, but now going to kind of do a bit of a demo on our marketplace and give you a few tips on how to use it and get the most out of it. I'm pretty biased, but I think our marketplace is what really truly makes Bókun unique and stands us out against our competitors, because it is a very fantastic B2B platform designed exactly for operators, all to connect and kind of supply and resell each other's products. So to give you some tips on how to optimize, your profile. So if you're on Bókun and you've already got an account, the first thing I'd kind of be recommending to you is, let me just see if I can move my toolbar. There we go. Is to make sure you are editing your profile. So if you click on this little edit your profile icon, a pop-up will come up and just go choose your role in the marketplace. So are you a supplier? Are you a reseller? Are you a supplier and a reseller? So make sure you're just choosing the correct one. So for the purpose of this, I'll just click yes, I am a supplier. Here it will ask you to personalize your marketplace profile. So, please do add your logo, add a bit of a description about yourself. What do you do? Who are you? Link your website, link your TripAdvisor URL so resellers can see you, can kind of click on your profile, go and do a bit of research about you. look at your TripAdvisor reviews and kind of see you on socials. So I think it's really important to just optimize this, because a lot of resellers are on our platform. As I said, we have over 6,000. They will look for suppliers that is going to complement their portfolio. So if you can kind of optimize that profile, make sure you stand out to them, so when they are looking for cookery classes in Paris, you come up because they've been able to search for you. So I think that's really important, to just kind of optimize that in the first instance. And then I think what I wanted to demo is just kind of look at some of these different marketplace icons. So if you are a supplier, you're always going to be kind of looking for resellers. So this is the icon that you'll click on. If you do decide you want to be a reseller yourself and maybe add that revenue stream and diversify your sales channels, you might want to look for suppliers, and at that point you might click here. And of course, there's all sorts of different filtering options here where you can filter by country, TripAdvisor reviews, types of activities, so you can find any suppliers that you might want to work with. But for the purpose of today, we'll stay on resellers. So we'll have a look at an OTA like Headout. So Headout are a key OTA. They're one of the kind of global OTAs that operate in many, many destinations around the world. So we've gone into their profile, and as we can see, it shows a little bit about them, the countries that they resell in, their preferred types of categories. There's a chat function, which is quite nice. So if you wanted to reach out to Headout and kind of say, hey, I'd really be interested if you wanted to resell some of my experiences, can we have a discussion around commissions? Then you can chat to them there. And there's also an instructions area here too as well, which just guides you through, the setup process, because I think a lot of suppliers sometimes think they just need to connect on the Bókun marketplace and that's done and the job ends there. It definitely doesn't. You need to make sure, if this OTA that you're trying to work with has their own platform, like as in a large OTA platform, they're going to have their own kind of sign up process. So they're going to want you to go to their account, their platform to sign up, follow their approval process. So we prompt you to do that on Bókun. So it's kind of got a flag there saying don't have an account, go and sign up now. That sign up link will take you to their profile. Or if you already do have an account on Headout and you just need to link it, then you can just click this button here, log in and link your account now. Now, the beauty of someone like Headout or Viator, Get Your Guide, those big OTAs, is that they have open API connections to us. So we can literally click this toggle here saying allow Headout to book my experiences. And what that will mean is we've essentially opened the API gateway. So there will now be an open API between your account and Headout. So once you have gone through their approval process and you've loaded your products onto their platform, and you've mapped them to Bókun, because don't forget, of course, you have to map them back to Bókun with the Bókun IDs, then it's linked. So what you're really doing here is cutting out that wait time of waiting for a contract to be accepted. So we found this really speeds up the process of connecting the suppliers to the resellers. So that's our contract list connections. And then if we also look at a more niche OTA, so let's say, for example, I'm an Icelandic supplier and I want to work with Arctic Adventures, who are a very strong performing reseller in Iceland. So they are obviously kind of classed as a more niche OTA. There isn't a contract list connection here. How this connection works is, again, you can still kind of reach out to them and have a chat via the chat function. But here you would create a contract. So you would agree the commission, the cancellation settings, the products that you allow them to have access to, and you send a proposal. And then that proposal will fire off to Arctic Adventures going, hey, Arctic Adventures, we'd love to work with you. Here are the products at these times. Do you agree? Or do you not? And then they will review and they either accept or decline. So with those resellers, you kind of do need to wait for that approval. But what I would say as well is, sometimes the marketplace can be a little bit noisy. If you're facing any delays with waiting for resellers to approve you, send them a message on the chat function, find them on LinkedIn, send them a message there. Try and get that engagement. It might be you can kind of contact them through their website or whatever it might be, just to try and drive those acceptances quicker and get connected quicker. And then I just wanted to take you into the contracts area as well. So let's say you start working with some different OTAs, your contracts will appear here. So accepted, formalized, agreed contracts will show here. Any that are incoming, so let's say, you know, you've optimized your profile, you're now searchable to different resellers, they start reaching out to you asking to resell your products. When they send you a contract, this will drop into this box here. So please do check these, like constantly stay on top and make sure you're checking, you know, who's sending you contracts, review them. Some might not be for you, some, you know, might not suit your needs, so decline them, get rid of them. It's best not to leave people hanging. And then also do stay on top of the ones that you've sent here as well. So this will show the ones that you've sent outbound to the different resellers as well. And it will also just give an overview of the different terms in there as well. I will just show you how to create a contract term as well. So you go into this area, this will show all of your different your different contracts. So you might just have kind of one contract which fits all of your needs, but you might have different contracts as well, because you might not want to, you know, allow every OTA to have the same products, or you might not want every OTA to have the same commission. You know, for some of the bigger OTAs, it might be slightly higher commissions. For the smaller, more niche OTAs, it might be lower commissions. So you might want a range of different contracts here that you can then apply to each of the different partners that you work with. But if you wanted to create new terms, you just click this box here. You'll fill in the different. So this could just be a standard contract. Choose the invoice currency. Select the commission, select the products that you wish. It could be all, you could be more selective about which ones you choose. And yeah, then that will fire off once you attach it to a contract. If you wanted to have an overview of your conversations, so let's say you didn't want to keep going into each OTA, but you wanted to, you know, say you were doing a mass outreach to lots of different resellers that you wanted to work with, your conversations will all be kept here. So you can kind of keep track of who's replied and who hasn't, all in this area. I think that's most things I've covered. I did want to just touch on as well. So in addition to kind of working with different OTAs, you might also want to consider our referral tracking feature. And that is where you can generate very bespoke tracking links that you can give to influencers, bloggers, local hotels, restaurants, where they can offer travellers those links and kind of book through that link. And they could put that perhaps on their social media or their website. They earn an agreed commission from you from that. And yet it's another sales channel for you, which of course you can track through your reports as well. So reports are all found here on Bókun. So you'll see there a referral tracking sales. So if we just dive into that quickly, obviously this is a Deb's demo account, so there's nothing on here at the moment. But in theory, if you were working with, say, that's 20 different referrers, each of them would show here, and it would give you kind of how much they've referred. It would show you at what value, what commission has been agreed, the payment status, so you can keep track of all of your referrers. And then I think, what else did I want to mention? Yes, so another tip kind of on how to diversify your sales even more and how you can get more revenue from the marketplace is, as I said, perhaps becoming a reseller yourself. So, you know, a lot of potential, and where we see some really great growth from suppliers is when they choose to become not just a supplier, but also a reseller too. And that doesn't mean you become a big OTA or anything like that. It just means that, you know, perhaps you know, for example, if you're a boat tour operator in Portugal and a lot of your travellers may kind of ask about a diving experience, why not partner with an operator that provides that experience locally? You know, you can promote it through your website and get access to that additional revenue. So it doesn't have to be that you are a reseller kind of reselling one product, you know, that's very different to yours. It could be complementary products. But kind of by becoming a reseller too, you're increasing that visibility as a supplier. So you're driving more traffic, you know, to your own website. And you can also work with other local operators too. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be a very different product, or it could be something that's totally different to your product. But you could also, you know, just combo. So, you know, think a kind of Scottish guided walking tour, perhaps combined with a whiskey tasting experience. You know, you can sell it on your site, perhaps that other supplier could sell it on theirs. You're both capitalizing on more visibility and more traffic. And then finally, the other area I just kind of wanted to talk you through is our agent area. So you'll notice on Bókun there's a section here on the toolbar that says agents. So I've talked to you about OTAs in the marketplace, but let's face it, there's still a lot of agents out there that work offline, and for these, Bókun has that booking agent area. And booking agents are resellers in their own right. They are someone that sells your product for a commission who are external to Bókun and your business, but you can still allow them to book your products on Bókun, so they can still feed into that live availability. They can still be brought into Bókun without them necessarily being on Bókun themselves. So the agent portal is a really, really great tool. You know, you can kind of brand it. So let's say you have some booking agents that drive really, really good volumes. You know, you can kind of brand a whole area for them. They have their own login. So every time they take a booking for you or want to make a booking, they log into that area. And yeah, it saves you kind of having to answer the phone to put that booking in yourself, or maybe take an email and then put it into Bókun. You know, you can give them a login so they can crack on and do it themselves. So yeah, I think that's kind of about everything from me. I'll transfer you back to Vanessa now, but if anyone's got any kind of questions around distribution or questions about the marketplace, feel free to pop it in the chat. And if we can get to it at the end, we will. If not, then we'll come back to you later after the webinar.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jordan. Perfect. Awesome. Great. Thanks so much to both of you for sharing your insights. Just confirming you can see my screen, which is a wrap up of what we've learned today from Deborah and Jordan. So just to recap, we learned about opening up your availability for the new year, including how to refresh your current experiences to make sure they're up to date, and perhaps exploring some different types of widgets with the offers and pricing options, as well as exploring the new resource management tool and how you can streamline your resources, including people and equipment. And then finally, Jordan just touched on the endless opportunities with Marketplace and how to widen your distribution through that. Perhaps you're considering a distribution strategy and how you can utilize resellers and those that are large OTAs or those that are niche local resellers in your area. So I see that the questions have been rolling in as we were speaking. So there is a few moments left just to answer a few. So I'll just call out some questions that I see as they come in. How can I identify the best OTA for my market? Is there any like top tips or best practices on identifying those that they can connect with?
Yeah, I can take this one. It is tricky. There's a lot of different resellers out there. There's a lot of resellers on Bókun, and there's a lot of other resellers that are not on Bókun as well, smaller, more niche ones. It is tricky. What I would say is kind of have a search around on the internet and what speaks out to you, kind of that matches your brand. So, for example, you know, if you're I'm trying to think of an example. If you're a skiing provider, so let's say you're an operator that specializes in snow experiences, you know, someone like Check Yeti, who I mentioned earlier, is a go-to website for travelers that are seeking that kind of experience. So, you know, really do search out those OTAs, and then obviously, you know, when you've kind of got a list of what's really what OTAs match that kind of experience, then have a look on the marketplace and search for them. So, you know, use the search bar on Bókun and find those resellers. You know, most of them will probably be on Bókun, and then connect with them there. But yes, in all honesty, it is tricky, and it very much just does come down to research and reading through, articles like Arrival and other industry bodies that regularly push out, reports around performing OTAs. So it's just very much keeping a finger on the pulse around what's our kind of industry saying. You know, where do travelers seem to be booking? TripAdvisor, you know, is great for pushing out data around where travelers are booking and how, and so just that research is really important.
Awesome, thank you. That's really helpful. I guess it is down to the type of the product that you've got on your experience as well. One more question that we've got time for. What is the best practice when it comes to the multilingual widget? Should you only put languages in that you offer your experience in?
I think that I can take that one. I think both. You can create rates divided on the language that you offer. So if, for example, you want to group it in different groups, the languages, and you want to, for example, have only the group of Italian, so you're going to create a different language linked to the start time, to a particular start time of each start time. But you can create you can translate your widget in different language based on the audience that you are trying to attract, or what are the most of where your clients are from. So I would do both, translating as much as the languages that you think that is it's important, and based on the clients that you are receiving.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Debs. Well, we are right on time, finishing at 3 p.m. So I will wrap it up here and say thank you for joining in on our webinar. And if you had a question that wasn't answered, feel free to reply to the invitation email that you received to join this webinar, and I'll do my best to find the answer for you. But thank you so much to Jordan and Debs for joining and sharing this insight, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Thanks so much for joining.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.